Hi, it's Nathan and Rachel from I Need IVF, and we're here today to talk to you about some tips and precautions that we've picked up about after embryo transfer and what you can do to try and give you the best possible chance of getting implantation. When we were going through it, the first time I looked at so much stuff, didn't I? So many tips, and you read everything from complete bed rest to just being completely and utterly normal to eating, I don't know, some random vegetable every day for about 300 times. So this video is, from my perspective, just to get a little bit of the science behind it. So we managed to find 4 tips that are based in the evidence, which we'll go through. And then we've got 4 tips which are more emotionally focused, which Rachel's going to talk about. So what actually happens after the transfer? Well, once you've been transferred, you go into this long waiting period, don't you? In essence, it's about 9 days if you have a 5-day transfer, and 11 days if you have a 3-day transfer before you actually get that blood test that tells you if you're pregnant. So, and it's really, really, really tough. I would say it was probably the hardest period.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you agree? I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about our experience with it?
Yeah. So kind of our experience was, obviously you go onto the progesterone, and I've spoken about this before in our drugs video, how that's pretty tough because the progesterone makes you feel like you're pregnant even though you're not necessarily. Hopefully you are. But obviously gives you all those symptoms like nausea and hot flushes and headaches and cramping and bloating and everything that you'd expect if you're pregnant. So there's that challenge. But the other challenge I found was the clinic didn't really give any information about what you should and shouldn't do after embryo transfer. So I was kind of left feeling like I wasn't sure what the right thing to do was. And particularly on our first transfer, I felt quite guilty afterwards. Because as you know, that was unfortunately unsuccessful. But the day after transfer, we'd gone and we blitzed the spare room, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And we cleared like boxes out and put up furniture and like made it a lovely livable space. But then I felt like, oh, have I overdone it? Is that why it didn't work?
You ask yourself, what if, don't you?
Yeah, what if I hadn't done that? What if I'd rested for, a week? Or what if this, what if that?
And I think
so that was quite challenging.
It was, but I think the main thing that came out of this actually is that even though you feel that way, I think a lot of it, there's no real evidence that says doing those kind of things would impact your chances of implantation.
Yeah.
So let's get into the tips. So tip number 1 is, and it's based in science, is to eat a healthy, balanced diet. Now, I'm not talking about many of these sites that talk about miracle foods that will guarantee your implantation, which you will see within the sort of... Exactly.
Everybody loves pineapples.
Pineapples, spinaches, pulses. And while they are fantastic from a nutritional point of view, they are great as part of a normal, balanced diet. And that's absolutely key. So making sure you are eating a healthy diet, which includes your 7 portions of your fruit and veg. Yeah, I know it went up from 5, which I was very disappointed with. But importantly, make sure you're getting that balance of carbs, proteins, and fats. If you need some help with your diet, then look up healthy living. Don't look up these crazy diets. Just eat a clean, balanced diet.
Yeah.
So tip number 2 is watch what you drink. Now, a lot of us just don't even think about... I mean, I don't think about what I drink. I just drink it. And there are 3 key things, 3 that you have to watch with regards to drinking. First one is obviously alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to completely abstain at this stage, but if you do completely abstain, that's a good thing. But reduce it right down. There was a study that was done in 2011, and it looked at, was it 4,729 cycles? And it looked at those who drank, I think it was 4 alcoholic drinks a week. Through that treatment, they actually had a 16% reduction in live birth rates. So abstination is the way to go, but if you do have to have a drink, and I know some people it's part of their routine, just limit it to one on a Friday night. Just have a small one. Obviously, as soon as you know you're pregnant, you're done.
Yeah.
Then caffeine. Now I am a huge coffee drinker, and you obviously like your tea as well. But high caffeine has actually been scientifically linked to increasing your risk of miscarriage. It shows that 300 milligrams of caffeine, you had a 39% relative risk higher of having a miscarriage, and at 600 milligrams, that relative risk was 2.32 times the average. So it does have a marked impact on miscarriage rates. However, there was one more study that showed that drinking between 1 to 2 cups of tea and coffee a day is completely safe and has absolutely no impact upon IVF. So what I would say is limit it. Don't abstain. It's absolutely fine to have one, but just limit it to 1 or 2 small cups.
You need one in the morning and you need one at lunchtime, go ahead. Just try not to have 6 or 7 a day.
And then the final part of tip number 2 is water. Drink your normal amount, which is
2 to 3 litres depending on your size.
Exactly. And the reason for
some great apps actually that you can find that will give you an estimated daily water intake based on your height and your weight. So have a look for those.
Just stick to that. It keeps your electrolytes balanced, helps your kidneys remove toxins through your urine, and that actually helps keep your cells healthy, which means that things are more likely to work well. Do you want to talk about tip number 3?
So this is a really hard one. It's basically trying to reduce your stress and anxiety. Now, I know through the entire process you will have found it quite stressful and you're probably quite anxious, and it's going to be almost impossible to remove all of that stress and anxiety. But what you don't want to do is to be so stressed and anxious that it's going to affect that embryo implanting. And there is some evidence that suggests that increased stress and anxiety has effects on implantation and on live birth rates and pregnancy rates. So what we want to try and do is to get you to some kind of happy medium.
Exactly.
Where you've got a bit of stress and anxiety, but you've got ways of coping with it. So that might be taking a nice walk, out in the fresh air. Also has benefits because you can get some vitamin D from that sunshine, if we can find some sunshine in the UK. Some people find that work-related stress is a big issue for them, and some of you may be lucky enough that you could maybe plan some time off around your transfer. A bit of annual leave, or you might want to take it as some sick time. But I totally understand that it's not for everybody, and I personally worked through all of my transfers. But it's just about trying to find ways of coping and make sure you plan your relaxation and your chill time into your 2-week wait.
And a bonus tip for gentlemen: foot rubs, back massages, very relaxing.
Absolutely, and what I'm hoping he's meaning is for the lady.
Oh no, I meant the other way.
Oh, well, that's upsetting.
Of course I did. And then tip number 4 seems obvious, but take your progesterone as prescribed by your clinic. It is an obvious one, but I did want to include it because all of the evidence shows how important progesterone is in implantation for maintaining the thickness of your endometrial lining, and also in those really early stages of pregnancy, helping to maintain that early pregnancy. So make sure that you do follow the instructions.
Absolutely.
So now we're moving on to the ones that aren't so much based in evidence, but they're what Rachel was talking about earlier. So now we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the more what ifs, reducing guilt, those kind of things. So tip number 5 overall, isn't it? So take some you time. What I'd say is if you need to rest, you rest. If you want to get out, you go out. I'd just say take some time for you, whatever that means, whatever it is you enjoy. If you enjoy reading, read. If you, it sort of comes back to the stress one really a little bit, but don't do what we did and decide to remodel an entire bedroom. Don't go out and build furniture. Just focus on you, looking after what this, hopefully will become. So just take some you time. And the next one is...
So one of the things that I looked into was acupuncture. A lot of ladies on the internet were saying, oh, it's great, it got me pregnant. I'm not necessarily sure it was the one thing that got them pregnant, but there is a little bit of evidence that suggests it could potentially help. And you can do acupuncture after you've done your transfer to encourage implantation. So if you're the kind of person that likes to look into other treatments and things, then that might be one for you. It also helps with that stress and that anxiety.
You've had it really relaxing, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. My acupuncturist always gave me a hot stone massage with it, which was very nice.
Happy days.
So
I think as far from the reading that I've done, they use a more gentle protocol after you've had the transfer, just because obviously some women are concerned about needles in the wrist, so they use a more gentle process and a more gentle protocol as part of that. So the next tip is to take your folic acid. Now, folic acid itself doesn't actually help with implantation. However, you are advised to take it throughout your conception journey and throughout pregnancy. So just for your peace of mind, continue taking your folic acid and whatever pregnancy and or conception mineral that you're taking. And then the final one
might be a bit of a challenge in the UK, especially if you are doing your IVF during the winter months, but try and get out in the sun if you can. It's obviously a great source of vitamin D.
Yeah.
So actually you need a surprising little time in the sun to get that vitamin D. I think they say 3 minutes out.
30.
30.
In the UK sun.
3. You will need to change that.
30 minutes in the sun.
30 minutes in the sun.
30 minutes in the UK summer sun.
Absolutely, will be enough. It's also, if you happen to be doing your IVF during the summer months, a great time to get your rest and relaxation, get that sun lounger out, or take a book into the garden and enjoy some summertime, which would be lovely. And if you're not lucky to be doing IVF in the summer months, then obviously try and maybe take a vitamin D supplement just to help along with that.
Good idea. And then one bonus tip for those of you watching the video and not just reading it on the website is sex.
Woohoo!
Unfortunately, it's not the woohoo. It's to, if possible, try and abstain from sex during this period.
Rats.
The evidence isn't clear either way, but we've met a lot of couples, haven't we, who've gone through IVF, and a lot of them who have had sex and then haven't had a successful IVF treatment have partly blamed them having sex during this period. Now, there isn't much evidence either way, but a lot of clinics also do advise abstaining from sex during the 2-week wait for a variety of reasons. A little bit of sexual abstinence, there's nothing wrong with a bit of enjoying yourselves in other ways.
Just a bit of cuddle time perfectly suffice, and ladies use that excuse to get those massages in.
Absolutely.
So.
But yeah, if you like the video, give us a big thumbs up and hit that like button. In fact, smash that like button. No one knew we need all these likes we can get. And subscribe. Yeah, subscribe and come and join our little community, which hopefully will be growing.
Yes. Grow. Please grow.
Thanks.
See you.